Hi guys, today we're going to look at how we can stop a lot of frustration for our players by making our controls a bit more forgiving. In one of our other videos, we showed how to add basic jump controls to a character. The character is only allowed to jump when they are on the ground. This makes sense logically, but in practice this can make your game really annoying to play. One problem is that the player may want to jump on landing and they press the button a fraction of a second too early. Or they may press the button a fraction of a second too late when trying to jump off a platform. In these scenarios, it just feels like the controls are broken and it can be really frustrating. In this video, we'll look at how to fix this with a couple of simple changes. If you find this useful, please don't forget to click like and subscribe, and if you'd like to support our work and get access to the source code, you can find us on Patreon. Okay, let's look at what's currently happening in our script. At the moment, we're checking if the character is on the ground. Then we check if the jump button is pressed before setting the speed of the jump. We're going to make this a bit more forgiving by adding a grace period. So instead of checking if the player is on the ground this frame, we'll check if they were on the ground recently. And instead of checking if the jump button has been pressed this frame, we'll check if it's been pressed recently. This way, if the player presses the button slightly too early or slightly too late, it will still count and make the character jump. We'll start by adding a public field to hold the grace period. This will be the amount of seconds leeway we'll give our player. Then we need to store the time that the character was on the ground, so we'll add a field for this. The question mark after the float type indicates that this field is nullable, meaning it will either contain a float number value or it will have no value at all. We need it to be nullable so that it can be initially set to no value, and so that we can clear the value when our character jumps. We'll add another field for the time that the jump button was pressed, again using the nullable float type. Next, we'll edit our update method to make use of these values. First, we'll check if the character is on the ground. If it is, we'll set our grounded time field to time.time. This is the number of seconds since the game started. Then we'll do the same for the button press. We'll check if the jump button has been pressed. If it has, we'll set the jump button press time. Now we can replace our original checks with checks against these values. So instead of checking if the character is on the ground, we'll check if it was on the ground within the grace period. We'll get the amount of time that has passed since being on the ground. Then we'll check if it is less or equal to the grace period. We can then do the same for the button press check. We'll get the amount of time that has passed since the button has been pressed. Then we'll check if it is less or equal to the grace period. Finally, we'll reset our nullable fields when the character jumps. We need to do this so that it doesn't jump repeatedly while in the grace period. Let's save the script and switch back to Unity. We'll select our character in the hierarchy and set the grace period to 0.2 seconds. Then we'll press play to try it out. Now we can repeatedly jump consistently and we're much less likely to accidentally press too early. Also, we are much more likely to succeed when trying to jump off a platform. Okay, that covers everything for this video. Hope you found it useful. Please leave any questions or feedback in the comments and don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss the next one. Thanks guys!